calm down. I am way too excited for this. Both books are about reality shows and queer people in reality shows being also gay. I saw it. Everyone who's read this book saw it. And the ship did not sail. And I am so pissed. I am so that it didn't sail. But in my mind, they're riding off together towards the sunset, you know, like, so buckle up and get ready to come with me on this book recommendation journey for Pride Month. Hello my lovely readers and queers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Franny and today I am so excited. I am so excited because I am finally doing a video that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. It has been a long time coming and I am finally here to do it. I'm here today to do the if you like this book, you're gonna like that book, but queer, because it is Pride and Pride is the best time of the year. And to honor that, I wanted to do a recommendation video, you know, where I can just gush about queer books and recommend queer books. Gabby Reed has done so many of these and every single time I see that she has one up, I am there immediately, like moth to a flame. I just cannot stop myself because I just love this idea and this concept so much, and I am finally here to do my own. That is so exciting. I need to calm down. I am way too excited for this. I'm not just gonna be recommending based off on books though. I'm also gonna use movies and TV shows. My main criteria that guided me through choosing the books that I will be talking about in this video are that I tried to choose books, queer books, that I read and really enjoyed and that I think are quite underrated. I haven't really been seeing them around. They don't have many ratings on Goodreads. And also, I want more people to read them. I want to talk to more people who have read them. These are books that I just want to keep recommending to people. And so here we are. So buckle up and get ready to come with me on this book recommendation journey for Pride Month. I'm gonna be starting with book recommendation based on other more famous, more well-known books. If you liked the Luis Ortega Survival Club by Sonora Reyes, I think you're gonna like The Evolving Truth of Ever Stronger Will by Maya MacGregor. This book, right? This book has 120 ratings on Goodreads, and I just want to shake people to grab readers by their shoulders and shake them until they pick this book up, because to me it is not understandable, it is not comprehensible how that is possible. I cannot explain that to myself. I have a review for this book. I'm gonna leave it linked down below. The Evolving Truth of Ever Stronger Will is a queer YA book about an agender 17-year-old who has just lost their mother. She was a drug dealer, she was an addict, she had been in and out of rehabilitation centers, and Will had once been placed with a foster mom, Raz, whom they adored. And so what Will tries to do now that their mother has passed away is to try and keep this hidden from the Child Protective Services, because there's only a few months left before they turn 18 and they can be by themselves, and they try and use this time to find their foster mom, Raz, before they are placed with someone else or until they turn 18. It is quite a different story from the Luis Ortega Survival Club, because that book has more to do with sexual abuse, rape, being bullied, and how to deal with all that is happening. But the reason why I am comparing these two books, and the reason why I think that if you loved the Luis Ortega Survival Club, you're going to love The Evolving Truth of Ever Stronger Will, is the fact that both main characters are non-binary autistic teenagers, and in their great misfortune and awful situation to be in, they still managed to find a support group of people who love them, who care for them, and who want to help them figure out a way out of this awful situation that they find themselves in. In both books, there are many delicate moments. There are social issues that are dealt with and talked about and discussed. Both books are written beautifully. In particular, The Evolving Truth of Ever Stronger Will is written from the second person, and I was in awe at how it was masterfully done. Like, I honestly could not picture this book being told, being narrated in any other way. It was born to be narrated in that way, and I loved every single sentence and every single page of it. So please do not be scared. I promise you it works so well, and it is not hard to get into it at all. Actually, you feel everything that is happening on your skin, and it really touches you deep in your heart. It was so good, so well done. Also, another similarity is the fact that both books I would recommend to be listened to. They are incredible audiobooks, and both audiobooks are narrated by non-binary narrators, which was, you know, the cherry on top. It might seem like a small thing, but it's like the people behind those audiobooks who worked on those audiobooks went the extra mile, and they cared about this one thing that made the whole reading experience and listening experience so much better for it. The Evolving Truth of Ever Stronger Will is narrated by Vico Ortiz, and they did such an incredible job. And again, I do not understand why this book is not more known and more famous and more beloved, and it really breaks my heart. It hurts my soul to not see it being appreciated by every reader out there. Please go read this book. You will not regret it. Read it for this Pride Month, please. Next up, if you liked The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrun, I think you will absolutely love Hot Summer by Elle Everheart. Both books are about reality shows and queer people in reality shows being also gay. In Hot Summer, we follow our main character, who is an event planner for a dating app, and she is about to get a promotion. But in order to get this promotion, her company signs her up for a reality show in which, you know, she has to go and compete and find sort of like a perfect match. Basically, the reality show in this book is The Perfect Match, the reality show on Netflix. It's kind of like that and Too Hot to Handle, but mostly The Perfect Match. And the reality show in the book, as almost all the reality shows out there, is straight couples. However, while she's on the show, she finds herself kind of starting to developing a crush and then feelings for a female contestant. And the more time they spend together, the more time they interact, you get to see the reaction of the people watching the reality show who are commenting, you know, on the social media and stuff, and they're starting to ship in them and see like a connection between them and all that stuff. And as that happens, also the characters start realizing that maybe there's something there and they might start pairing up on the reality show as well. I loved it so much, just as much as I loved The Charm Offensive, even though I read Hot Summer first. But, you know, The Charm Offensive is the more famous one, so here we are. This is the common thread between the two books. They are both queer romances and both couples in different ways, but they're both involved in reality TV shows. And I think that if you liked The Charm Offensive, you're absolutely gonna love Hot Summer. I also liked the fact that both books, but Hot Summer in particular, kind of show you the behind the scenes of how a reality show really works, and how what you might think is like impulsive or spontaneous and completely out of the blue is actually very well plotted and orchestrated by the production and the TV screenwriters and all the people behind the scenes that are making the reality show happen. Like, nothing is natural, even if it does look like it. Like, obviously we're all aware that a reality show is not real, but then when you're on the couch and you're watching it and you're just chilling, you don't think about the fact that it's kind of acted out and it's not actually real. You just get yourself be swept up by the whole thing and you don't really think about it. It is so not real, but it was so much fun to read. Both of them, they were so much fun to read. I loved both of them and I wholeheartedly recommend both of them if you want to have a very fun time. And staying with the charm offensive, I actually have another book to recommend that I think you'll love if you enjoyed the charm offensive, which is He's to Die For by Erin Dunn. This book is coming out on June 3rd, so it might be already out by the time you're watching this, but I had an arc of this book, an audiobook arc actually, if we want to be precise, and I had so much fun. It was so much fun to listen to. The audiobook is narrated by Sagas and it was so good. In He's to Die For, we follow a detective from the NYPD who is assigned a murder investigation that is going to be a bit of a press ordeal because a famous producer was murdered, and the main suspect in this investigation is the frontman of a band who was involved in a lawsuit with this producer because the producer wouldn't sell back to them the masters of their first albums. I know that the Swifties out there will be familiar with this situation and will relate to the hate that the band and the fans of this band had towards this producer. And so this is a romance mystery, and I mean it when I say that it was a romance mystery because the romance and the mystery were both very present. There's an actual murder investigation going on throughout the whole book. Well, actually there's more than one murder to solve by the end of the book, so the situation keeps on getting more and more complicated as you go on, but also the romance was really there. It is not in the background at all. There's a lot of flirting, there's a lot of bantering, there's a lot of sweet, swooning romance, there's a lot of heavy makeout sessions, there is a bit of everything. So it really was a 50-50, which I really appreciated because it is not quite easy to do, you know? Now, the reason why I'm saying that if you liked the charm offensive, you're going to like He's to Die For, even though there's no reality show in He's to Die For, is the characters. Dev from the charm offensive and Rab from He's to Die For are both Indian, they're both gay, and they both fall in love with people who are famous. So there's the issue of if we are found out, we will be in the spotlight, people will be talking about us, there will be paparazzi and all those things, because in the charm offensive, Dev, who is the producer of the Ever After reality show, one of the producers of the Ever After reality show, falls in love with Charlie, who is a tech genius, very rich tech genius, and Detective Rob Trivedi from He's to Die For falls in love with the frontman, singer, guitarist, and composer of a very famous rock band who is, you know, the Taylor Swift of the situation, basically. So you can imagine the spotlight that is put on these characters. And I also saw many similarities personality-wise between these four characters, and the fact that there are discussions about mental health and being like very famous, a public person, and wanting to keep your private life private because you want it that way. And also how both couples were so open with each other and so sweet, but also very, very steamy. Yeah, I really think that if you liked the charm offensive, you're going to like both Hot Summer and He's to Die For. And so enjoy. Moving on to the movies. If you liked Guardians of the Galaxy, then you would absolutely love the Ambits Run series by Elle Sagas. The first book is Cascade Failure and the second book is Gravity Lost, and they will not be enough for you, unfortunately. It is a duology, which I am not fine with because I am not even remotely ready to let go of these characters. I need more from them. I want more adventures. I want my ship to ship because it has not shipped. There's a couple in this series that I have been fiercely shipping since the very beginning of book 1, and I got until the end of book 2 with so many scenes that could have gone a certain way and that hinted at a certain something. And it did not happen. And I am so not fine with that. I am so But let me not get too sidetracked here. So this is a sci-fi queer series in which we follow a crew of characters on a ship, and they work for the Guild, which is basically soldiers who are supposed to be neutral and protect the people of the universe, of the galaxy. Kind of like the Avengers, but they don't have superpowers. And the crew in this book, the Ambit, they basically take on the most dangerous and risky missions, and they get the job done in their own way. And the captain of this ship is an AI being, and oh my gosh, I loved them so much. Everyone has my heart. They are the most human AI that I've ever encountered so far, and I loved them with my whole heart. The plot of this book is that there is someone, a rebel leader of sorts, who has engineered a dead world virus, a virus that is able to kill worlds, basically, to destroy planets, and our crew will basically have to deal with that. And just as you have it in Guardians of the Galaxy, every member in this crew is fucked up a little bit, or more than a little bit. They are all struggling with their own demons, their own PTSD, their own trauma, and still they are so much fun. They find a way to come together, to fight together, to be a family, to get to the end of each day together, working together. And oh my God, I loved them so much. I love these characters, Nash, Jal, Saint, Eon, all of them. They have a piece of my heart. They are in my heart, and I do not know. I finished reading Gravity Lost, which is the second book in the duology, the second and last book in the duology, just a few days ago at the time of filming this, and I have not stopped thinking about them for a single day. And I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with myself now that I cannot keep reading their adventures, now that I cannot see the ship that I was shipping happening. Because let me tell you, there was a ship in this book, okay? A couple that to me is canon because it has to be. There is no way that it's not a thing. The author was hinting at it, I think, from the very first scene that they have together in the first book. These two characters have a past that they have to unravel because things happened. There was a betrayal, one was left behind, and you know, in a soldier context, being left behind, that is a trauma to go through. That is something that cannot be easily forgiven or that you can easily move past. And so they have this whole thing that is binding them together. But from the very first moment, from the very beginning that they meet in the first book, after years that they've spent apart, there was something, okay? I saw it. Everyone who's read this book saw it. And the ship did not sail, and I am so pissed that it didn't sail. But in my mind, they're riding off together towards the sunset, you know, like the thing happened. I'm upset only because for how these books were written, for the dialogues, for the emotional charge that there was in every single chapter that kept me at the edge of my seat and at the brink of tears at almost every chapter. I would have loved to see how the author would have played out, would have written that moment between those two. It would have been delicious. It would have been the most perfect, amazing thing. But it's fine. It's in my mind, so it's enough. Anyways, clearly you can see why I am recommending the Ambits Run series. If you have loved Guardians of the Galaxy, the vibe is the same. This series is so action-packed. There is so much happening, so many adventures. The characters are hilarious. There are so many scenes in which, you know, they come together in the main room area, whatever it's called, of the ship, and they just banter and they talk to one another and they try to come up with the weirdest, craziest plans to come out of certain situations that they have to deal with. And, you know, the vibe, the humor, the banter, it was just like watching Guardians of the Galaxy, because it's set in space, but any, you know, Avengers movie, that's the vibe of this book. And so you have the action, you have so many emotions. I am not kidding. I was literally about to cry so many times because there were so many scenes that were truly so intense and emotionally charged. Moments when, you know, they're about to die or go into a battle of sorts and everything slows down and you don't know what's gonna happen next, and you have to split momentarily. You know, you have to go different ways to take care of different things and situations. And those lingering looks and those words that go unsaid, but you know, you're saying everything without actually saying it, and it is very emotional, it is very intense, as you can see. And so I think that this comparison is absolutely perfect, and I want more. That's the only thing that unfortunately I do not recommend, which is the fact that once you're done with this series, you'll be grateful because you were there, because you read it, because it's in your life now, it's in your mind, it's in your heart, but then it's over and you will not know what to do with yourself, just like me right now. Moving on. Next, if you liked The Last of Us, I think you will like Old City by DiFrancesco. This book has a story, right? So I randomly found it when I went to New York in 2019. So that was some time ago, before the world changed. And I saw it. I saw that it was queer. I saw that it was set in New York. This cover, I mean, was pretty much a cover by back when I was still buying physical books, and I couldn't resist. I got it, and then it stayed on my shelves for 5 years because I only read it last year for the first time. And when I did read it, I actually listened to the audiobook, which is very on brand for me. So this book is set in a near future New York ravaged by climate change and economic inequality. Basically, New York is flooded. Whoever can afford leaves New York, goes to the countryside, upstate, whatever. And so only the lower class New Yorkers are left in the city to fend for themselves. Just imagine, nothing works, no services, no supermarkets, nothing. So we have a bunch of characters that have to rebuild society from scratch and try to organize themselves in a semblance of autonomous government society type of thing. And of course, you don't only have good people left in New York. Not everyone wants to work together and cooperate with others. And we follow three characters: a young black woman who is from the lower class, a genderqueer anarchist 18-year-old, and another young girl who is from the other side. She's rich, so she's not in New York City anymore when this whole thing is going down. The story is quite different from The Last of Us, and it goes in a different direction in a way. But the reason why I am recommending this, if you liked The Last of Us, is because both stories are about resilience, are about finding yourself in a fucked up world and trying to survive and trying to figure out how to restore some type of normalcy and how to recreate something to deal with the fucked up world that you're left with. And both the show and the book have morally great characters who don't always act in a quote-unquote good ethical way, and they make their decisions and they have to live with the consequences of their decisions. Both of them do not shy away from violence, from greediness, from blood, from how fucking unfair life can be and how different people react in a different way when put in the same situation, how they try and make the most of the hand that they're dealt with in very different ways, but also how you can find strength resilience and beauty in the most unexpected places. And they're both queer. And of course, I have to mention that I recommend the audiobook of All City, which is narrated by 4 different narrators who are Ebony Flowers, Eileen Stevens, Jamie Matler, and Timothy Andres Pavon. And my last recommendation is, if you like Black Mirror, then you might like The Last Catastrophe by Allegra Hyde. The Last Catastrophe is a collection of short stories that mostly revolve around climate change and capitalism. All the short stories are set in sort of undefined near future. I listened to this one back in 2022, I want to say, some time ago. And to this day, there's a short story that is still as fresh in my mind as if I had read it yesterday. It is titled The Future is a Click Away, and it is basically about Amazon, about how big and invasive this giant has become and where it could be headed. That short story was scary. It was terrifying. Like, what happens when the monster that you're feeding with all your personal private information, your preferences, your tastes, everything starts predicting what you're gonna want next? How do you stop that? How can you stop that? And where is that not being able to stop it gonna take you? You know those moments, and it's been happening to me more and more often, and not just to me, but to a lot of people that I know, when you are talking to someone about something, you're just having a conversation, you're not on your laptop, you didn't Google anything, you're not on your phone, and then when you do pick up your phone, you see an ad of the thing that you were talking about that you yourself had not actively searched. You hadn't typed the words, and then you see the ad, and it is not a coincidence. And then it goes away, but you stop for a second, and you have that one moment where you're like, shit, that is terrifying. The level of spying, the quick come and gone realization that everything you do and say, you're not alone. Someone is watching you. Then you don't think about it, right? Then you move on, and it's like, oh, okay, fine. But you have that 1 second, that split second realization of all of that. That is what that short story was and what this collection is. And it just makes you think, because sooner or later, I don't know if I'll see it, but we're going in that direction. We're going in this direction. And this collection is also queer, of course. That's why I'm recommending it in this video. And I am ending on a very happy, positive note, aren't I? I mean, it is what it is, right? Even Pride has its good and not so good moments, right? Because it is a great time for us queers, but it also makes you think of what us queers have to live with on a daily basis and why Pride is so necessary. So, you know, the good and the bad, that's what we all have to live with on a daily basis. Thank you so much for watching this video. I was so excited for it. I have rambled on for quite some time, and I do not regret it. I've had the best of time, and I am happy that I got to talk about all of these books in this video and recommend them to you. So please let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books. If you haven't, did I interest you in any of them? Would you like to read them? Tell me which ones and why. I would absolutely love to know. And if you have some book recommendations for me based on the books and movies and shows that I've mentioned in this video, please let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to have more queer book recommendations from you. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon in another video, but until then, have a good one, take care, and keep reading queer books, and happy Pride. Warm hugs. Bye.